I appreciate you coming on here, bro. First episode of Demo Drive. I asked this on my other podcast, right? But oh, nice hat.
Yeah.
Damn, dude, this guy keeps switching hats.
We're representing.
Hell yeah, bro.
This is the last one, I promise.
Where did GoldenBoyBrian come from? Because you use this on Kick. I don't know if you've used it before that, and then on your Spotify profile, it's the same one.
So, the GoldenBoyBrian thing is a story that goes long before my birth. So my father, back in the late 70s, early 80s. No, I want to. No. Sorry, like the late 80s, early 80s. Actually, I'm trying to think of how old he is. My dad was in like amateur pro wrestling. This was like way before like the WWE and all of that. And his name was Golden Boy Buzzy Star.
Buzzy Star.
So, yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah, my last name's Basinski, so I just doxed myself, but it's all right.
Is
so
it on your Spotify page as well?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, well, now I know his last name.
It's not even like hidden. You know what I mean? Yeah. So my last name's Basinski. So Golden Boy Buzzy Star was his stage name for wrestling, and I've kind of like just kept it going. In the early aspect of me making like the solo music, I was going by like my regular name, but then I was like, it's too hard to spell, it's too hard to say. So then as I was like, just, it's my Instagram handle, so I was like, I'll just use that, and I already had I did that on Twitch too.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the story of that.
I like that, dude. That's sick. Keeping like the wrestling legacy from your dad to the internet.
Yeah,
and everything you do.
That's why the Macho Man. Yeah, I got the Macho Man shades and stuff.
That's right.
The wrestling stuff. Like Macho Man's my favorite wrestler, so that's why I try to incorporate that into the stream too, to kind of keep that aspect of it alive as well.
That's cool, dude. That's cool. I know we're gonna be talking about music, but you're just like everywhere. And I like that about you. You do cartoons, and you're making your first cartoon on Kick. You do emotes right now that you're doing it for free for the whole Kick fam, and you make music. Like, what inspired you to do all this? Like, when did it start? I guess for you.
So, like, what aspect? Like just the streaming aspect of it, I guess, or are you talking?
Yeah,
like
the streaming aspects. Yeah, because I'm assuming you're just a very creative individual. So like one sparked the other. How did that timeline go?
Yeah, so I used to stream on Twitch like about 2 years ago. I want to say like a little bit after COVID, when I moved into this house. I was doing some streams on Twitch, and I had a friend who's like pretty big on Twitch. Shout out to Cashflow. He kind of like helped me out and stuff like that. And I was doing a lot of lo-fi guitar playing. So I don't know if you've seen me do that. I do that occasionally here on Kick too. But I was just playing guitar over lo-fi beats. And it was going pretty well, but the problem was I got very bored of it very quickly. And I felt like I was kind of limited to just doing that, because on Twitch it's just like such a vast ocean of like streamers and people and like trying to get discovered, and the community aspect of it is just like not there. I feel like nobody kind of really wants to help people out. Like there are people, but you really gotta like find them, and that's like the networking is like very difficult on Twitch. So I kind of got burnt out on that. I stopped doing that. Focused more on like writing music. And while I was working on all that stuff, I also was running a like a political cartoon Instagram called Chef Buggrub, cool. who was the guy that you just saw. Chef Buggrub was the main character. And the Instagram's not there anymore, but I still have all the comics if anybody wants to see them. And I started drawing on the iPad, you know what I mean, and like doing that and all of that jazz. And then I just kind of like I got bored with that, and I just kind of like let that fall down, because that's
Mhm.
kind of what happens. Is like I'm a guy of many interests. You know what I
You'll
mean?
get
Like
one
when
thing,
I get
it goes
yeah,
away. You get another
when you
thing, it
get
goes
focused on
away.
one thing, and then it's like, oh, let's go do this, let's go do that. This sounds like a good idea. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Um,
I have the same problem because it sounds fun. You
yeah.
do it, you're like, oh wow, that was cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I was getting, like, results with it, but it wasn't really something that I wanted to stick with doing.
Hmm.
Um, just as, like, being involved with, like, politics is, like, it's
It's
such a
exhausting.
draining thing, and then you gotta, like, keep up with current events, and then, like, you gotta timely, like, make something to go with that current event, you know what I mean?
Oh,
And, like,
true. Yeah.
it was just, like, exhausting, and I just didn't wanna, like, kinda do that anymore. Um, so then fast forward to about 4 or 5 months ago, um, I had already, like, heard about Kick,
Hmm.
and I was, like, interested. I'm like, "Oh, that's cool." I never really went on the website because I was like, "Oh, like, what am I gonna do?" Like, I don't really like, before I started streaming again now, like, I
Yeah,
didn't really watch streamers, and a big reason was, like, I didn't wanna sit there and watch ads on Twitch.
dude. Right?
So
Oh my
so,
god,
like, I didn't really
hurts.
like, I would watch, like, Asmongold every once in a while, or, like, S-Fan, but, like, it just was it was just so frustrating, so I was just like, "Ah, I'll just watch the YouTube videos when they go up." So fast forward, like 4 or 5 months ago, me, Ty Daddy, Dangles,
Hmm.
he's in the chat, and then our buddy Bob and, Evan, we were all playing a game called Sea of Thieves,
Oh, nice. I still need to play
and
that.
we should play sometime, dude. It's a lot of
Hell yeah.
fun. It's a lot of laughs. But we were getting into, like, all these, like, yeah, Chunkamuffin plays Sea of Thieves too. Shout out to Chunkamuffin. He's one of my other mods. He's a great streamer too. Um, we were playing Sea of Thieves, and I'm like, this is so much fun. Like, I'm having so much fun, like, interacting with, like, my friends and the
Hmm.
people, like, in the game and stuff. And I'm like, I should try streaming. And then I was like, all right, I'm gonna stream on Kick.
Nice.
Um, so I started the streaming with Sea of Thieves, and I'm a big fan of Doctor Disrespect. So, like, I've had, like, the green screen up for a while. Like, the room showing the room is kind of like a new thing I've been doing. I've been
Yeah, I
trying
think
to,
I
like,
when I first met you, I saw the green screen for like two streams, and then you went
yeah.
full room.
The so we so I was, like, big in, like, the production of it and stuff, and, like, trying to, like, make the character of, like, me being a pirate
Hmm.
and things like that. And then kind of got, you know, kind of got stale. Wasn't really seeing, like, the traction I wanted to see with it. Um, you know, so I was, like, switching it up, and I'm, like, looking at, like, the art tab, and I'm like, well, there's not a lot of people that actually stream on the art tab. And
Yeah.
I'm like, what is something that people want? I had all these drawings already, so I already put them in my chat as emotes, and I was like, oh, I could just, like, start drawing emotes. Um, for other streamers and stuff like that. And I just was networking like crazy, because I feel like it's very easy to do on Kick. If you want to stream, I
Yeah.
highly suggest streaming on Kick, because it's very easy to meet other people and collab and, like, do all these different things. I mean, look at what we're doing right now. Like,
Yeah.
it was like an easy thing for us to do this right now.
The cool part
um
too is because of how new Kick is and people trying it out, you never know who you're going to talk to. Someone who has like 200 followers or
yeah,
something was like, "Oh yeah, I'm actually a Twitch partner and I'm just trying this out." And it's like, "Oh wow."
yeah,
And you like all this knowledge and wisdom that you get if you network with the right people, I guess. It's really cool.
yeah, man, no, exactly. So that was kind of that. And I started drawing more, started getting more involved. um Ironically, I'm, like, drawing all these stuff, and I'm drawing all these characters, and I'm like, I said to myself, I'm like, I'm gonna make a cartoon. And um ironically, one of the things I always wanted to be when I was, like, a little kid was a cartoonist. It was just something I never continued doing, because I never
Hmm.
felt like I was good at drawing and stuff like that. And doing stuff on the iPad really, like, encouraged me, because the iPad's very forgiving with, like, making things, making, like, perfect lines and things like that.
Yeah.
So it kind of like pushed me to keep going, and then making different things for different people kind of like helped develop that skill a little bit more. Like I think just in even in just the last like 3 weeks, I've gotten a lot better at drawing and figuring out how to do different things. And yeah, now we're making the cartoon. We got the first 2 minutes of the cartoon
Yeah.
playing on the projector behind me. It's called Pizza Boys. It's about Chef Bug Rub, and which I'm very excited about, keeping him alive
Hmm.
in it. He owns the pizzeria, and has a bunch of misfits working for him. Kind of think like Bob's Burgers, but they're not his kids, kind of thing.
Okay.
Um,
More
a little bit
degenerates.
more, yeah, more crude humor, I would say. Um, and yeah, it's been a very time-consuming process. I mean, just making that 2 minutes alone probably took me about like 16 hours to do in total, and I'm still not done with
Jeez.
those 2 hours. You know what I mean? That's just
Hmm.
initial like animating. Then there's going back and like adding extra sound effects and things like that. There's a lot to it.
Do you have people like voice acting as well for you? Are you gonna voice act it or?
So I have all the voice acting for the first episode done. It's all done by me.
Oh, that's awesome,
But
dude. That's
as
good. That's cool.
future episodes come out, then I want to include more people. Um, kind of try to maybe do like cameos and things like that.
Yeah. Sounds like a fun community project too. Once you get
Yeah,
things settled.
yeah. It's right now. It's a lot of like figuring out like what works and what doesn't work, and just trying to, you know, piece it all together and kind of create a workflow.
Hmm.
Um, I always try to say, like, when it comes to creating things, like having a very solid and easy to use workflow for yourself is like the most important thing, because if you're too busy, like whether you're recording music or you're making, drawing a picture or something, like if you have to fight with the program to get what you want, then that's just gonna, slow you down and frustrate you and make you not want to work on it.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many times that I've stopped because I'm like, I don't know how to do this, and then go to YouTube, and I'm like, I'm done. I'm gonna look at this later.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look at
Yeah,
this later.
exactly. Exactly.
Mhm. And talking about um, like that workflow, and this is gonna be more of like a music tailored podcast. But do
Yeah,
you
yeah,
have
of
any
course.
like tips or tricks when you get into like songwriting or producing?
So the way I've always approached songwriting is it usually just starts out with me playing the guitar, kind of figuring out a riff that I like. Um and then I'll just start like freestyling lyrics, whether they make sense or not, just to kind of
Hmm.
figure out a melody. Um and then, and then kind of final the first thing I usually try to finalize is the chorus or the hook of the song,
Yeah,
because that's obviously the most important part, and then kind of work around the rest of it. Um, the I kind of just like get into the recording software. Like I went to school for audio engineering.
oh,
That's
nice.
like my main thing.
Yeah,
Music is 100% my main thing. It's always been my main thing. The drawing and the emotes and all that stuff. That's just stuff I like to do. I like to stream that. I like to do that.
yeah.
I'd like to stream more music production. It's just trying to get the equipment working properly, because my one PC doesn't run Pro Tools. I use Pro Tools,
Yeah,
and my other one does. And then I gotta export the audio out and use a capture card to
that
catch.
sounds like a
I mean,
lot. Sounds
yeah.
like a
But
hassle.
it would be fun to do.
Yeah.
But eventually we'll get that situated. But like a song like "Forever Close," off the new EP,
Hmm.
Pure Joy. You can go listen to it on Spotify. GoldenBoyBrian. Um, that was a song actually wrote while I was recording it in this room. Um, I started out with just strumming the chords that I wanted, and then I kind of just set the time of how long I wanted each part to be, and then I wrote the lyrics afterwards. The lyrics of that song are all about me and my wife. We went to your neck of the woods, Arizona, for our honeymoon, and
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah, and we went to the Grand Canyon and stuff, and that song specifically was about
Okay.
us sitting at the edge of the Grand Canyon where you could definitely fall and die,
You
and
answered
watching
my
the
question
sunset
because
together.
I'm looking at your single, Forever Close, and I was like, is that the Grand Canyon? Because
Yeah,
that's like
no,
your
that's
wife, right?
that's my
Yeah.
wife. My wife actually drew that photo.
Oh, that's
That was
amazing.
a picture that I took of her, and then she did the line art and stuff. My wife is an amazing artist, dude. She's like a classically trained watercolor artist. She does all sorts of stuff. Great photographer, everything.
That's sick, dude. Out of your EP, because I was listening to it getting off work today, and I was like, I'm gonna listen to this EP again. For the songs you have, can you even rank them? Can you say like which one is your favorite? Because I know all of them are about your wife, right? But
Yeah.
what if you
I
had
mean,
like a
there's more that's not even on the EP. You know what I mean? Like there was a
oh
song
wow
I wrote for her, that I sang at our wedding, and that's not even on the EP. There's like rare footage of it out there on like Facebook and stuff like that.
hmm
But the my favorite one that I wrote, um, it's like kind of a tie between Thief in the Night and Morning Echo. The reason I really like Morning Echo is because it's a very different song from what I've
yeah
wrote in the past. And that song actually went through a lot of evolution because it started off well, let's back up a little bit.
hmm
I also play in um a band called Cave Art, which is an alternative rock um pop punk kind of band. Very spacey sound.
oh cool
And we we actually broke up at the end of or at the beginning of COVID because no gigs, nothing to do.
true yeah
Um, it was just just a lot, and that was like one of the first songs I wrote afterwards. So I kind of kept that sound going of it being like electric and spacey and things like that, and I never really like jived with it very well. So then fast forward to me trying to like rework the song. I was like, I'm just gonna strip it down to acoustic. We got the banjo in the back. I put some banjo
oh yeah
behind it. You know what I mean? And I think it
hmm
really captured what I was trying to do with the song because it's a song that's just like the melody of the guitar. In my opinion, like the idea was to make it like a droning alarm like in the morning when you're
yeah
waking up to like go to work or something like that on like a cold winter morning, and I think it really hit home on that. So I was really happy with how that one came out.
yeah I gotta say
And
out of the four, that one is totally different than the three.
yeah,
But I liked it. Like it was kind of a slower intro getting into it, and then kind of picks up right in the middle and end.
yeah, yeah. I mean, the thing is too is that these songs are songs that I've been sitting on for like years at this point. Some of them, but I had these mixes done, and the one thing I've learned about putting out music is you can sit there and you can work on it all the time,
Yeah.
and it'll never sound perfect how you want it to sound. Even recording at studios, like I've recorded music with the band The Early November.
I'm not familiar. No.
They're like an emo band from the early 2000s. They're pretty
Okay.
big, but I've recorded with the lead singer of The Early November at his studio. You know what
Cool.
I mean?
Yeah.
Ace Enders. And even like those songs, like they sound great. They're just not they're not what I wanted at the end. So at
hmm
some point you gotta like concede to the song and just say, okay, this is it. This is what I'm gonna release. This is what
This
I'm gonna
is
put out there.
yeah. This is what it is, right?
Yeah,
Um, I kind of find that advice hit home because you always want it perfect, and you have this fear of like, oh God, it doesn't sound like A, B, and C. But when you put it out, you kind of it's like almost like a bookmark. How I look at it,
yeah,
I listen to it, I'm like, oh wow, and then you proceed onto the next one, learning.
yeah.
So
And you can like even like you sending it out to somebody else to mix it or do something to it. You know what I mean? And then they send you something back, and it's like completely different than what you envisioned from the beginning. That's even more frustrating, and then you end up sitting on that stuff longer.
yeah, yep, it just collects dust. I have too many
Yep.
projects that just I don't even think will see the light of day.
Yeah, but that's kind of just how it goes when when you're making stuff. You gotta sometimes you just cut your losses and you just move on to the next thing, you know?
Do you ever incorporate like an old project into a new project, like sampling it or taking an idea?
Um, yeah, yeah. I mean, so so my band Cave Art, we actually this past year got back together. We're working on new music that we're releasing very not I want to say very soon, but
Okay.
we're working on it and we haven't officially announced that we're back together, but this is the first announcement that we're getting back together and that we're going to be releasing new music. Um and we have songs that we've sat on with that we really liked, and now we're reworking them and changing them, and they sound even better than they did before, you know.
Hmm.
Working with people when it comes to making music, I think is a really good thing that every musician, anybody that makes music, needs to try to do. Um, and but you got to find somebody that you jive with very well. Me and the other members of Cave Art, like we work very well when it comes to writing music, so everything's kind of seamless.
How does that
Um,
work? Just because I've never been in like any type of project. I've collab, here and there, but
yeah.
not in like a real space. Like I'm just a bedroom producer, right? So like in a physical space, does one, you know, play a riff and then kind of play off that, or
Yeah, it'll usually go something like that. Whether somebody writes a song, brings it in, and then we say, "Okay, that's cool. We like this part, parts A and B, but maybe we could change C or do something different here." And as we play the song too, things change while the jam is going on. Um, and that's just kind of the flow. But you gotta with a band, you always have to like check your ego at the door because,
yeah.
you might want something to sound a certain way, but you're dealing with, 3 to 4 other members, maybe more, that might want it to sound a different way, and you got to make compromises
Hmm.
somewhere, because everybody's music taste is very different. So everybody's technically right in their own aspect of like what they think will sound best, but
Yeah.
like where's everybody going to meet in the middle on what actually sounds best?
Um, Centrals brings up a good point, but so when you do make music, I don't know if this has happened to you, but it seems like to others. What do you do? What do you do at the point when somebody has like a crazy ego? Like, does the band break up? Like, all right.
Um, yeah, I mean, yeah, that's kind of what happens. People get fed up, they quit. It's never I mean, it was never, like Cave Art breaking up, that was on me because I kind of was just falling out of it too.
Gotcha.
Um, just because the vibe of it all was at a zero, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
COVID,
especially
all
during
that
COVID.
stuff.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yep.
it was just something I wanted to step away from. I wanted to focus on doing more folk music, and you know, didn't really do that either. I just ended up playing a lot of World of Warcraft and Animal Crossing,
Yeah,
you know.
dude, Animal Crossing during COVID was insane, bro. Like that was peak game.
Yeah,
It was like out
it's
in
awesome.
April. Yeah,
My wife's island is insane, dude. She played so much Animal Crossing. She can't play it anymore. She can't.
she
She's
had
like a
too
crackhead.
much.
Yeah, she's a crackhead. She can't play it or else she gets like addicted again.
Oh,
It's crazy.
wow. Yeah, that's
She's
RuneScape
like,
for you.
don't let me. Yeah, it's like any of those games: World of
Yeah,
Warcraft, RuneScape, Animal Crossing. It never ends.
that is crazy. Talking about your wife. I know I mentioned this a little bit yesterday, but was she a part of the process? Like, did she hear a lot of
A
what you
lot of
went through?
um, yeah, no, my wife has been with me on this music journey we've been together for 8 years now, married for 2. Just had our first daughter um
Nice,
on Halloween.
congrats. Oh,
Thank you.
spooky.
Yeah. She's amazing. And my wife's been my number one fan. She's been a huge supporter of everything. She's when I I tried to work on the songs when she wasn't around,
Yeah.
um, just 'cause I like to keep the surprise going, but, she obviously heard them here and there. I would show her mixes, be like, "What do you think?" and stuff. Um, but, she's not a musician, so she would just be like, "It sounds good," and I'm like, "That's not what I wanna
That's
hear." I'm like,
not
"What do you
it.
how does the tone on this bass sound? I need to know."
Hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
But that's when I would send the songs over to, like, Ty Daddy or Bob, and, we would, they would give me some feedback and things like that.
They'll be friends.
Yeah.
I get
Yeah.
nervous
I
when I
have I have
send
a
my
very I
stuff.
have a very good supportive
Yeah.
friend group, and I'm very appreciative of it, you know?
Yeah. I that's what I kind of want to do here too, right? Like have people who may not have that and just like, hey, this is the beat I'm working on or the song that I'm writing on, and take a listen and give genuine feedback. Because I don't think a lot of
Yeah.
like you have friends, but then sometimes the friends might be like, oh, dude, like sometimes they're like, I don't care, right? Like I've gotten to that point in my life, so
Yeah,
be
no,
tough.
definitely, dude. Like, you gotta tell people sometimes that, like, because you don't wanna set somebody up for failure, especially if you care about that person, so,
Yeah.
there's literally been times when, like, I've sent a song to Tyler and he's like, "This sucks," you know? Like, and
Damn.
I'm like, and it pisses me off, but,
Yeah.
like, that's okay, because I know that he's looking out for me, and, you know, I would, if he wrote a song and I didn't like it, I would say it sucks too, but, like,
True.
that's just having those friends to, like, that support group to help you become a better musician. Like, you have to always have critique. You have to. Like, if you go to art school, like, I took a couple art classes in college. Every time we would finish a painting or a picture or something, we would put it on the wall. Everybody's pictures are on the wall, and we would go, one at a time and talk about each person's piece, what we like about it, what we don't like about it, and it sucks to hear sometimes, but you have to hear it.
Yeah.
You have to, because if you don't, then you're just gonna be filled with this false hope of, like, I'm the best,
Yeah.
and
High ego.
then you get the ego, yeah,
Yeah.
and
You're also
then
gonna you're gonna keep making mistakes because you were never told like this doesn't sound good or this doesn't look good,
yep,
right?
exactly,
Which I know art's
exactly.
subjective, but I
It's
think
yeah, and especially nowadays, dude, with, because when you're not just a musician, you're a content creator, you're building a
yeah,
brand. So you have to keep in mind every single thing, like, it's not just like I wrote this hit song. It's like, okay, the song may be great, but how are you gonna get it out there? What are you gonna put to it? You're gonna do, like, a video, you're gonna do this, do that, and it's like,
it's
for
kind of
me,
crazy how it's evolved to that point, right?
yeah,
Like I know there's a lot of apps that have boost that, but now it's not putting music out. It's how are you like who are you, right?
yeah, yeah, exactly. Like, how am I gonna get people to engage with this and that? And it's a very frustrating process that, even with streaming, I think a lot of people don't take into consideration. Like, I always see people complaining about, like, this or that. I don't have viewers, I don't have this, and
Yeah,
it's like, well, you gotta, like, you know, not to be mean, but, like, you can't just sit there all day and play Call of Duty,
yeah,
you gotta do other stuff. You have to, not just network, but, like, you have to create other content, like, any YouTube video. When I started on Kick, I watched, like, 20 YouTube videos, how to grow in streaming. Every single video said that you have to create stuff on other, platforms,
hmm,
and it's the same for music, it's the same for all of that,
yeah.
you have to keep evolving with stuff and create stuff for other platforms.
It is tiring, but it's a good point. Like I know it's a tough pill to swallow, but you have to be entertaining. You have to make other content.
Yeah,
I think also a big one. I've been thinking about this lately, and something that I've noticed my success ups and downs. But you have to generate hype. You have to generate excitement. You have to try new
yeah.
things and make new things. Because if you don't do it,
I
then you're just sitting.
I think you do a very great job at that, Greg. I wanted to tell you on this podcast that you've become like one of my favorite streamers to watch here on
Oh,
Kick
dude,
because
stop, bro.
the I can tell that you put a lot of you care about this. You care about your community. You care about streaming a lot because of the way that you control the stream. Like it's not just like you talking to chat. Like you're like just making stuff up on the spot. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
yesterday you were talking about like the cooties and stuff like that. Like I could tell like
there's a little hot pocket.
that was just something that just came out of your head and you were like, I'm gonna say this. You know what I mean? But
Yeah,
it was so like there. The delivery of it was like so good. Um and that takes time to like develop that. You know what I mean? Because whether you're streaming or you're going on stage talking to an audience playing music, you have to be able to control a crowd. You know what I mean? You have to
true.
be able to to keep the engagement of those people. And I think you do a fantastic job at it, dude. I learned so much honestly from watching your streams. So
I appreciate
it's
that, man.
of course, dude. Of
Yeah,
course.
I think a lot, and I got a lot of flack for this. I made like a YouTube short or something. It was like an Eric Andre skit, and I put like streamer mod or something like that. And a
Hmm.
lot of people gave me flack of like, oh, so you're telling me that you have to be funny when you stream? And I'm like, kinda. You know, like if your gameplay, if you're not playing the latest game, you know, it might not be entertaining for the viewer. If you're
Yeah.
playing like Call of Duty and you're like really bad, you know, not a lot of people. Like, I don't know, people may not watch it, right? Like you kind of have to be that brand, that person. So
Yeah. I mean, you don't even have to be funny. Like you just have to be somebody that is easy for the person to watch. Like there has to
true.
be like the least amount of friction for them to go to your channel and stay watching your channel.
Hmm.
Um, another streamer that I just wanted to shout out on Kick
Yeah.
that I enjoy a lot is Jake. I don't know if you know who he is. Jaeke.
Mm-mm.
Um, he's great at networking. He's great at talking to his chat, and his stream is like super chill. Like it's just like he goes by like a cozy
Oh,
stream kind
okay.
of thing.
I
You know
like
what I mean?
those. Yeah, yeah.
And it's just he's just so good at it. And it's like I'm like, damn, dude, like I'm over here trying to like hit all these sound effects and
Hmm.
things like that. And he's just like talking and people are like just enjoying it. It's cool, you know?
Yeah.
I love to see that.
I think also too, and this is, you know, tying in with everything, you kind of go through evolution as a
Yeah.
streamer, musician, a brand. Because it seems like you and I are kind of the same way. Like we'll pick stuff up and then we'll forget about it, or we'll do it something later on with it. And I think that's what happened to me. I had a lot of like ideas that I did, and I was like, eh, and then ideas and but then there was like so
Yeah.
much of a catalog of content where I'm like, oh wow, I don't even have to like. I mean, I work, but like I don't even have to work as much as I used to because I now have like an amazing workflow of all these like creative elements. Um,
Yeah.
and the big thing too, I was going to tie in was like what you do with the soundboards and everything like that. Like on Twitch, I used to have a lot of stuff like automated and like channel points, and it would just like
Yeah.
make my stream crazy. And when I was kind of scared going to Kick because that was kind of my crutch for I guess content was all these like silly
Yeah.
things. And then I was like, no, I think I can do it. I think I could just be myself and like push through. And you know, eventually Kick will release the API and we'll have more fun stuff to do. But I guess that's wisdom for any content creators. Like believe in yourself, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you gotta another big thing too is, you gotta work with the tools that you have available to you. Um, Especially with like recording and things like that. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like you don't need top of the line everything. I use a Focusrite interface. That's like this, mine's a little bit bigger than like the starter one, but like it's the same
Yeah.
preamps, it's the same technology inside of it. You know what I mean? You don't need all of this stuff. You don't need a Go XLR. You don't, especially like getting into streaming, like most of the stuff that I have for streaming, like I already had.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like this camera, like it's a nice camera. It's a Sony A6000. I already had it because like I was taking photos and stuff, you know?
Yeah.
And ironically, it ended up being, like, the perfect camera for streaming. You know, I think the only thing I've bought for streaming was this microphone, which I didn't really need because I have other ones, but I liked it.
It's a nice one.
And the lights. That was, like,
Um,
the only thing I bought. Everything else, like, I've already had. So, you know, you just try to work with what you have. Maybe you don't have, like, cool lights and a fancy camera, but that doesn't mean that, you know, you can't get, like, I have, like, 2 it was a 2-pack of these two $30, like, LED lights that are on these,
oh,
like, little tripods.
yep,
Yeah, and they just sit there on my desk, and, you know, if you have that and a cheap webcam, like, you can make it look, like, 10 times better.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
It's
Reduce
just, like,
noise and
the
make it
little
look
things,
nice. That's the same
but
thing with like music. Like
yeah.
streaming, I take a lot of pride. Like I don't really I haven't invested as much as I used to last year because I got the camera. It was kind of nice, but like in terms of like music, I use Reaper and I still
Yeah,
haven't
it's a
paid
great
for it.
program.
Yeah, it's
It's a
like
gr m
this is beautiful.
it Yeah. Reaper is a
um,
great program.
yeah, it's really robust, but I enjoy it because now I know I've been using it for so long. Like the workflows there. Shout out to Dave, my quote unquote manager. He gave me Reason, so I'm trying to learn that right now too.
Yeah,
Um,
that's a great plugin too.
yeah, no, it's awesome. It's an awesome DAW, and I just eventually would like to go to Reason one day and do more like streams like that. But I'm kind of nervous because it's just me kind of like dumbfounded like all these like plugins and all this random stuff. I'm like, man, this looks like
Yeah.
Excel. This looks like Microsoft Excel to me.
Yeah, that's a big thing too, is like, like I use Pro Tools, but I've used Pro Tools over 15 years at this point now. Like for me to like I've tried to use Reaper. Like I use Reaper on this computer for like little things if I'm like making sound effects and
Yeah,
stuff, you know what I mean, like
super
cutting.
easy.
But I if I was to like record a whole song on it and mix it, like I don't think I could do it, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
But then there's people that are like fluid on it and then you give them Pro Tools and they're like, what am I looking at, you know?
Yeah.
So it's just it's just workflow. Find what works best for you when it comes to creating music, art, anything. You know, you have to just create that solid workflow, the that path of least resistance for you to be able to put stuff out there too.
What are some like words of wisdom for like newer producers and musicians, like people who are going to try to get into it this, or I guess maybe not this year because we're in December, but next year?
Um, I
Because I'm
mean,
assuming you started out young, or no?
yeah, no, I started playing music and playing in bands when I was like 13.
Hmm.
Playing at bars in New Jersey and stuff, and like just growing up in the New Jersey music scene. Um, played, I've played all over the state. I've played in, I never really went on tour, but it's something I've always wanted to do. But as I've gotten older, it's like, why even bother? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, but the thing I would always tell people is, don't do this stuff because you're trying to make it because the chances are very slim. You know what I mean? Do it because you love doing it. Like
I feel like you
anything.
have a better chance of winning the lotto than making it big with your art, which is a tough pill to swallow because
Yeah,
art's amazing, but it's really tough
it's
out there.
yeah, there's always going to be somebody better than you doing the same exact thing that you're doing, you know? So you just have to keep doing it because you love doing it and keep
Hmm.
honing your craft, practice what you do, um, practice with intention. That's a big thing. Like when it comes to learning instruments and practicing singing, like don't just sing. Figure out why you're singing, how you're singing, what you're trying to do. What you're trying to do with your instrument, how the instrument works.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Don't be afraid to like if you got a cheap guitar, don't be afraid to like take it apart and try to figure out how to put it back together. You know what I mean?
I like that. That's cool.
You
Yeah.
you have to because it's you know what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do when you're on stage and like you're finally playing your first gig and like you break a string on like the first song and that's the only guitar you have. Like what are you gonna do? Are you gonna be like, "Oh, we have to stop," or are you gonna like go to your guitar pack that you have
Mm-hmm.
set on the side of the stage, pull out a new string, and start changing it in the middle of the song. Because I'll tell you what, if you do that, people are going to be very impressed by that.
They're gonna be like,
You know, they're
wow,
going to be
this is
they're going to
sick.
be like, yeah, wow, this,
Yeah.
and you're still playing too. I've
Mm-hmm.
seen people do that, man. It's crazy. It's crazy. Um, like learn how to just, I don't know, just learn how to be the best and learn what you like to do, Like I really enjoy playing blues, you know what I mean? But
Yeah,
like, am I
yeah.
a blues musician? No, but like I like doing it and I like playing it and messing around with it, you know what I mean? Um, and just that's just because I like doing it, you know?
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Good advice, man.
Yeah, and then also, another thing I would say is get involved with outside groups as well. Um, like
Like labels or
like
like
no,
outside of.
other musicians.
True. True.
I also play in my church band. I played in the church band for like 7 years, pretty consistently.
Mm-hmm.
Every Sunday I'm up at, sometimes I was up at 6:30, sometimes I was up at 7. Playing like two services. But you'd be surprised, like the amount of musicians that you
Yeah.
meet, like playing in those groups, and the talent that these people have. My one buddy Mark, dude, he's the best piano player I've ever heard. He can literally play like anything, and
Oh,
it's
that's
just
sick.
amazing to hear him play. And then like when me and him like get together, we vibe and we start jamming, and like there'll be like these moments during service where me and him will just like start going off.
That's
You know what I
awesome.
mean? And it's awesome. And that's the only way you're ever gonna get that is by playing with other people. And you gotta and playing with people that are better than you too.
Yeah.
Always try to, find people that are better than you, willing to help you learn too. You know?
I feel like that's
That's
a
that's
really good
that's
shout
the
out.
number one that's the
Mhm.
number one tip I could give is to play with other people.
Yeah. And that's like that's just like free experience, right? Like you were gonna do
Yeah.
this regardless, and now you're getting like more elevated type of I wouldn't say content, elevated practice because yeah, you're gonna be hanging out with newer people. So that's smart. I feel like
Yeah.
that bleeds into anything that you do.
Yeah, definitely. And it like, for example, like a couple months ago, I was filling in bass for this band, and we played a gig in Times Square, and it was like a pretty beat gig. Like nobody showed up. Guys are cool,
Hmm.
but like it was a hassle, parking, everything. You know what I mean? I don't know if you've ever been to New York, but it's a mess.
I heard there's like
Um,
a lot of rats. Is that
Yeah, there is a lot of rats. It's
okay?
very true, especially if you go down the subway, but you also don't wanna go to the subway because 'cause you'll probably get stabbed.
Okay. All
Um,
right. I'm never going to New
but,
York, so
uh
thank you.
but, y you know, the, like, that gig may have not been the best gig, but I don't regret that experience because I learned from that to be like, "Okay, well, if my band's gonna come and play or I'm gonna come and play in New York City, like, I know what I want out of it," you know what I mean? And learn from that. It you know?
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense.
No, that makes sense. Yeah. What I know we were talking about blues and yeah, I know you were playing I think bluegrass the other day. I think just on stream, but like what's your favorite like genre of music now? Which might be tough to even ask cuz I feel like some days I'm like, "Oh, it's all this," and then other days I'm somewhere else. So,
Yeah, that's such, like, a tough
it's
decision
it's a hard one, I know.
'cause, like, I listen to a lot of, like, folk music and, like, country. Like, I really like country music, like, I don't know if you ever listen to Zach Bryan, like, he's
Oh, yeah, yeah.
probably one of my favorite musicians right now, um, and, like, Tyler Childers and stuff, but I also, like, love, like, punk music and listening to punk music, like, been really into this band called No Pressure. I don't know if you know who they are.
I think Situals may have shown me one or two
Yeah, so it's
songs.
the singer of The Story So Far, if you know who
Oh,
that band
cool.
is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And, yeah, dude, I saw them live a couple months ago, and I was like, "This is awesome, dude." You
Hell
know what I
yeah.
mean? Like, listening to stuff like that, like Iron Chic, a lot of like old school punk, a lot of like pop punk. Like I like everything, man. But that's like kind of the main vibe I usually stick to. I like a lot of rap too, believe it or not. I listen to a lot of rap.
Favorite artists so far, or favorite maybe top three artists on the rap side?
Uh, I've always been a big fan of Young Thug.
Nice.
I like Young Thug a lot. Um, I like Pop Smoke a lot. Rest in peace, Pop Smoke. Trying to think. Oh, and West Side Gun. You ever listen to West Side Gun?
No. Is that like a heavy 808 type vibe, or
It's
no?
more of like the New York like backbeat kind of
Okay.
vibe, and he's that guy that goes do 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 do
Yeah.
do.
Yeah. Okay. All right. You like that?
Um, yeah, I like all that stuff.
Hell yeah.
And I like Action Bronson a lot too.
Oh, that's a
We
good
vibe
one.
out to Action Bronson a lot on the stream. He's a good lyricist.
It's a vibe.
But that's kind of like I don't really listen to a lot of like trap music. I listen to like more of like just like the chill rap, you know.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I like rap where it's like they're saying some stuff, right? Like the lyrics are really, really good. And obviously the beat too, but yeah,
Yeah, there's a lot of like I don't know how familiar you are with like a lot of the different producers that make the beats and stuff. Like DJ Mustard, he did a lot of stuff with Two Chains. I'm drawing a blank. Lex Luger back in the day with like Waka Flocka and the early Gucci Mane stuff. Um, 808 Mafia, you know,
yeah,
all of those producers. Like, it's cool to like understand that all of those guys that made those beats like kind of came up with these rappers. Like they were all boys.
yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? And it's cool because like if you're a producer and you're making those beats like for your friend, like you never know, like maybe your friend could become the next like Pop Smoke or something like that.
Might
You
blow
know what
up.
I mean? You just might blow up and then like you're along for the ride, like you're his producer. You know, you're making the
Yeah,
beats. You know, because
that's got to be
without
so
that beat,
cool.
like he's just rapping a cappella and nobody's gonna listen to that, you know?
Yeah, yeah. That's got to be so cool for the producer. Like, wow, I didn't realize this was gonna be a thing, and then you're like
Yeah.
on a journey with the said rapper or whoever.
I mean, I don't know if you did you watch any of like the Kanye documentary
A
on
tiny
Netflix?
bit. I think I watched like the
Yeah,
first like 20.
I'm a big Kanye fan too. He's like
Yeah.
probably my number one favorite artist. Um,
He's really talented. He's really
yeah.
talented to fill whatever space, and like I don't know. Like I've gotten some inspiration from him on producing, but
he so a big thing with Kanye was that when he was coming up, like he was working as a producer, like super young, dude, like 18, working out of his mom's house, like making beats for people, like scratching vinyl, like the whole everything, you know what I
yeah.
mean? And like they didn't want him to like be a rapper, you know what I mean? Like they didn't want him to make these, you know, these songs and like he would like literally like he literally took College Dropout and like brought it to the
Yeah.
record label
I
and like
heard. Yep.
played it for them and stuff and was like and they were like, wow, this is really good, you know. It's crazy.
Do you think someone could do that now?
No,
Of,
no,
of how the space is right now? Okay.
no, there's no way, dude. There's no way you're just walking into a record label and just dropping your mixtape on and being like, I want to talk to the CEO
Yeah.
of Sony Records,
Unless you
you
know
know.
someone who knows someone, that's yeah, that's the same thing for
Yeah,
me. I'm like, I don't think
but
you could do it.
again, that's you just got to adapt because we're in this like different atmosphere now when it comes to releasing music. Everything's changed so much in just like the last 20 years of music where CDs are now pretty much obsolete. You
Yeah.
know, I have a stack of Cave Art CDs like sitting in my room right over here. Um that like, you know, nobody's going to take them. Like nobody's going to buy them. Like I just have to like hand them out and be like, "Here you go. Maybe your car still has a CD player you can
Right.
listen to it there. I know your computer doesn't anymore." So,
I miss it, man.
it's
It's just
yeah, it's
eras of old tech, for music, right? Cassettes, CDs,
yeah,
MP3s are going to be obsolete. We're going to just be able to like just input a chip in our brain.
yeah, exactly. You're going to just know you're going to have to pay for the Spotify subscription for
Oh my
your brain
god.
plug. Or you're gonna
You're
have to just
scaring
listen to
me.
ads all day.
You're scaring me, dude. God, bro. This has been great though, man. This has been good.
Yeah,
We're
man.
getting close.
I love this. This is cool.
Yeah.
I
I guess
appreciate you having me on and giving
yeah.
me this platform to talk to all you guys.
Yeah. This is the idea too, right? Like I'm gonna be, high ego, but I have a really kick-ass community that I was like, you know what? This is cool. Like we all jam to music. I'm a fucking Spotify consumer, which I'm so sorry that I consume Spotify, but it was like 175,000 minutes in the year. And I think
That's a lot.
that is a lot, dude. I felt bad because I was like, I'm not giving anyone any dollars to these musicians that play, but
Yeah. Also, don't do it because you're trying to make money, because Spotify plays is like 0.0001 cent or something
I
per
think it's
play.
0.0003 or something like that. It's really
Yeah,
low. It's so
bad.
bad. It's so bad. Anybody who likes musicians, artists, buy a piece of merch.
Yeah.
Buy something from Bandcamp if they have it on Bandcamp and you really like their music. Streaming really has killed a lot of revenues for people, but yeah, or not even like just streaming platforms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough, and like that's like another reason why like a lot of people don't even bother going on tour. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
'Cause it's like you're just relying on people buying the merch to make your money, and it's a tough road to life to live.
Mm-hmm.
To make it as a touring musician.
I even know like venues will
God bless
charge
you.
on the merch too, right? So it's like
Yeah,
even
some
more.
venues do, man.
Yeah.
You're dealing with a lot of different shady people. The music industry's always been very shady. So, just one final tip I would say is try to stay independent as much as you can. Keep all of that for yourself. If you make a hit
Mm-hmm.
song, you know what I mean, and the label wants to work with you, unless they're offering you some, amazing Olivia Rodrigo type deal or something like that, don't take it. Like,
Yeah.
stay true to yourself, stay true to making what you want to make, and you know obviously you did it once, so you could do it again, kind of
Yeah.
thing.
And related to streaming, just you make something great, you just keep on that traction, that energy, and you just keep moving it. You just keep putting it out in the universe.
Yeah,
You
dude,
pray.
of course.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool. Well,
100%, man.
final words to end the episode, I guess. You want one more shout out for you?
Yeah, sure. So yeah, my want to thank you guys. Just as a reminder, my new EP, Pure Joy, it's out now on all major streaming platforms. You guys can go check it out. GoldenBoyBrian. Same as here on Kick. You can follow me on kick.com/GoldenBoyBrian. We do live streaming pretty frequently. I don't really have a set schedule because of the newborn, but we try to stream as much as we can. If you're a streamer and you want to come in this month, I'm giving away free emotes for anybody who comes in. You don't have to sub to me or anything like that. And yeah, we just vibe, we hang out, we have a good time, we do a lot of drawing, shoot the shit, and that's pretty much it. I got a TikTok if you want to follow me on TikTok. The same
W
thing.
TikToks
It's all
lately,
the
man.
same. It's all the same on all of it. Yeah, that's a whole other discussion. I don't even want to.
Yeah.
Today was me messing around with TikTok way too much and like trying to figure out like what works in the algorithm, and that's like we could talk about that later if you want.
Yeah.
I did learn a lot, but
Awesome, dude. Well, thanks for chilling here, and yeah, guys, give him a follow. If you guys don't follow him, subscribe to him or anything with this platform, I will ban you, and I will find you on YouTube and block you. That's the end.
And yeah, and anybody who's from my community, if you don't follow Greg, you're also blocked
You're dead.
and banned.
You're dead.
Yeah. So
Shout out to our sponsors, Pornhub Live. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed that episode with GoldenBoyBrian. Please look at the description below. Please follow his socials. He is streaming here on Kick. Our second episode is going to be about Chavis Flexington. We'll get that scheduled pretty soon. If you guys are enjoying this type of content, please check in on my Kick channel, GoodVibesGreg. Every Wednesday, we got Demo Drive. We'll look at people's beats, their music, and we'll just listen to them and try to promote them as much as possible. So thank you guys, and stay blessed.
I can see your beauty in the great vast beyond. The way you look so small in comparison. I can feel your comfort as the sunset sounds. Canyon breeze, baby girl, don't look down. So close to the edge, if we ever let go, baby, let's go together and hold forever close. Stop and take a breath of the fresh, clean air, but your elevation's got me lost in the days, I swear. I'm in the days, I swear. I can see your beauty in the great vast beyond. The way you look so small in comparison. Waiting for the time to hold you tight. It's getting cold now, baby, let's go take a ride. Side in the great wide beyond in my eyes. I want you now, I won't let go. Baby girl, can you just hold me forever close? Forever close, forever close, forever close, forever close.